I know that it's a gorgeous September weekend, some of the finest weather we have in the Willamette Valley, and it's awfully nice of you to be here today to hear all three of us poets. I'm looking forward to hearing Leah Stenson and Rachel Barton as well today. And I'll step closer to the mic. Do you want me to pull it up a little more? Yeah, let's see here. Do this, get this out of the way. Okay. All right, how's this? How does that sound? Okay, great. So, thank you, Joan. As Joan mentioned, the Springfield Poetry Series is another reading series that I happen to have the honor of helping to organize with Carter McKenzie. And it's coming up on October 2nd. And I didn't bring a flyer because I'm not such a good organizer, I guess. But I am going to read a poem to start off with one of the poets who's reading that night. And the poet Annie Lightheart of Portland, whose book Iron String was published by Airlie Press a few years back. And she just knocks me out. And so I chose this poem, Light Rain, because some of you know, and I'll tell you for those of you who don't, recently my husband James and I adopted 2 puppies back in the winter, and anything I thought I might be doing in my life completely changed as a result. And particularly in the spring, it was pretty challenging. There were times when we thought we were just utterly failing, and it was difficult. And this poem just kind of spoke to me. Light Rain. Stern voices in the world say they know what matters most, but I find I don't know anymore. Once I'd have said it was love. It would have been so good, so fine to say, and I would have believed it was true. But this morning the baby is screaming, and my son bitterly complaining, while their father, besieged, tucks and buttons their clothes. I take a spider outside in a glass and kneel in almost invisible rain until it climbs into the grass and is gone. Now I see it has been tenderness all along. Now I am ready to fail, to go back inside and begin it again. Wonderful, wonderful Annie Lightheart. You can see her, hear her October 2nd, Emerald Art Center. So the poems that I'll be reading are from last year because nothing really got written this year. And I've got a few serious poems and then some lighter ones to be sure to sprinkle that in. To start with, though, last year was also a time of disruption, some losses in my community of an emotional nature, and this is one of the poems I wrote from that event, from that time. Where are we? Such a terrible break. A broken and terribly such a rupture I know not what. I know not what I know of rupture. Tell me of rapture. Tell me of birth. Begin, begin, begin. What's it worth? Careful with your words. They hurt. Given where we are, where will we give? Given where we are, where will we grieve? Are we where we wish to give? Are we where we wish to grieve? Given grief, are we where we wish to live? The next poem, so this one was written and then I kept working on it after the fires in California last year, those very devastating fires, and of course we continue to see that happen. She could marry the winter. She could marry the winter that broke everyone's trees. She could marry the tree that crashed unexplained across the river. She could marry the river the man dredged and channeled and drained. she the river became. She would carry the ice, calving a new story. She would carry the story that cleaves prey from polar bears. She would carry the bear's final bone shiver and quake. She the hunger would marry. She the growl would marry, roaring into wind. She the wind had married tongued horses into flame. She who torched horses became famine and feast. She a beast unimagined, who married a winter ceased. And then this one, this is a little, this poem's been on a little bit of a journey. It has an epigraph that I will read you. The title is That Which Is Beside the Slough. And the epigraph comes from the Elements of Style. It opens with a quote from the Bible, and then it continues. Let us now go even unto Bethlehem, and we see this thing which is come to pass. Occasionally which seems preferable to that. So, that which is beside the slough. The cigarettes that once touched their lips lie smoldering beside the slough. The cigarettes, which once were whole as children, lay crushed into the mud beside the slough. The blankets that lay heaped beneath the bridge covered them head to toe. The blankets, which once lay folded upon a quiet shelf, trembled in the scolding wind. The dog that nosed the blankets as it passed wasn't allowed to linger. The dog, which pulled back on its leash to linger, smelled something curious, so curious. The people who walked the dog tried offering privacy to the blankets. The people who walked the dog thought privacy a kindness to the blankets, which trembled in the testifying wind. The storm that took the town by surprise had everyone fooled. The storm, which shook the town by the throat, snapped trees in its gnashing teeth. The storm that raised the water in the slough howled like Gabriel. The storm, which howled like an angel on fire, raised the water, aroused the water in the drunken slough. The sweatshirt that once lay crumpled in the weeds was pulled in and sucked by the dirty lips of the slough. The sweatshirt, red and torn, which has known the shape of woman, swirled a scarlet torch song upon the wreck of slough. The people who had seen the sweatshirt for weeks were glad of its riddance. The people whom the shirt had seen from its bed in the crumpled weeds wondered where all the debris had gone from beside the slough, beneath the bridge. The song that rose from the rack held a rose for the morning air. The song, rose and risen, which hovered in the air like smoke, ushered the greeting dog away, away. So that's where we live, is beside that slough, and walking along the bridge, and the homeless are there, and we just keep walking by, and it's just a terrible, terrible thing. You know, we have such a problem in this town. I promised I would lighten the mood, and I will. Right now. So in an entirely different direction. This is a poem that just was a lot of fun to write. It's called The Then Now. I was thinking about the white chickens. How many were there? 2, maybe 4? Weren't they too glazed with rainwater, given how much falls at times, a drizzle or in sheets and torrents all winter long? As Kesey wrote, that old gray aunt who came for Thanksgiving and stayed till spring. You've got to love her, though. How talkative, how inquisitive she is, how her conversations begin with something like chickens and range wildly about, from swollen rivers threatening to take out the Mapleton Bridge to the plink, plink hitting the mailbox during the night. That while we all know we're waiting for the next letter from Billy telling us he's still safe inside the green zone over there. That photograph he sent last time of the red plow and the white goats was a hoot. Has a way with images, he does. I wonder how he'd describe this World War II bomber plane that's been flying over the yard today, of all things. I was finishing up my casserole for tonight's supper when Carlos says to come outside, and there's this loud noise like a thousand plane looming over the trees. The paper said it was in town offering rides for charity, but I just can't see sitting inside that thing, flying over people's Sunday barbecues. Funny though, it had no shadow. Spooky. I said to Carlos, last night, you remember to close the coop? Sirius is the title of this next poem, Sirius the Dog Star. Stars, sharp barks, beckon us outside, bright yips, light years, quick, cautioned with one long howl, the hunter Orion's canine scion of the blood-dark sky. Endless night, while here endless heat, till August rotation finds autumn's half-parched relief, gardens pardoned under a quilt of leaves. Winter on its heels, our star leaps through space, chases expansion of the sphere, or so we take its meaning from here, lonely vantage where we claim this familiar as one of our own. What of that howl, heard night after night? What can we know of the gods' delight in light's ability to stretch time's breath into a disk to chase? See that wink at us, held in gravity's restraint? So I forgot to notice the clock, I'm sorry.
No worries, just keep going.
I think there's 3 more? Is that okay?
Because we started late, so what we'll do is we'll cut the break down.
Okay. Meditation at Shot Pouch Creek. So Shot Pouch Creek up outside of Philomath, and the Spring Creek Project, which holds retreat residency opportunities for writers and artists. And I've had the fortune to spend time there. And this poem is Meditation at Shot Pouch Creek. As the chickadees cry, look in the tree, 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 I'm stuck in the past month. It's a drama of reprisals, missed cues. Only so many hours in a day, and each one I've spent rehearsing lines I won't deliver, reimagining scenes never to be restaged. Walk! Some shadow in the trees. Why all this wasted energy on what cannot be changed? What wasn't given, what wasn't said. White moth, tiny as a thought, bobbing in the morning's uprush of air. Thought here, thought there, alights upon the moment like a stellar's jay. Pay attention to me, me, me. Only a jay's performance needs no audience. Bleeding heart, salmonberry, bell the light shot air. What was given, what was lost. Look, look in the tree, tree, tree. And I do, and see the light gilding the maple's mossed limbs, that white moth a fleeting walk-on in the misted air. How long have I been standing like this, head in the gut-shot past? Let the curtain fall. Stand here, now, beside this spill of Mountain Creek, grove of old cedar, morning long gone, trillium once white, now turned, quiet as a gong. And following that is this poem about the time last year when I was selling my house. My house, which I had moved from and rented out, and and then returned after a difficult experience with the tenant, and it was somewhat remarkable, the experience that I had returning to my place after she moved out. So this poem is called 2-Bedroom, 1 Bath for Sale. I should mention it was, no, that's it. The tenant is gone, weeds in full bloom. The cedar I planted needs pruning. Ivy and quack grass have spread with abandon. But deer ate all the tulips and bedded down, I'm told, in the absence of dogs. Home, a shallow depression in tall grass. Black garden pots lie like shadows in corners of the yard, spent artifacts of attention, of tending. Spearmint and blackberry embrace the buckling fence, further evidence of my mistakes and the widening gulf that kept me away. Yet the trellis still stands, sturdy as a friend, and the kitchen, a lover remodeled in my years without serenity, gleams as yellow and familiar as if I never left. Home as first love. First home as girl on fire. With my mother's gift of Felco shears, I prune the rose bent double with honeysuckle, the iris stalks aging on the ground. I patch the walls, scrub the deck clean of others' lives, itinerants who passed through like borrowed knives. Beneath the volunteer cherry, my dog reclaims her nest, 3 turns, invokes home. Inside, windows open, cobwebs sway in the breeze. Lone note the tenant left on her way out. I dust them gone. Home is patched yellow paint in the kitchen. The tub with its new necklace of caulk. The cedar boughs shrouding my first dog's ashes. The weed where I thrive in the moss. The unburdened rose. And so for the last poem, I'll lighten it up again, and this one I also had fun working on. So let's see. There's a word that comes towards the end. The word is rhyme, but it's not the one you think it is. It's R-I-M-E, which is that hoarfrost, that frozen dew, that surface. And the poem's title is Renascent, and being born anew, renascent. With a name like root, shall I begin with the roux? A recipe rife with ritual, a rendering rich and strange. I, at heart, am a ruddy rainbow, a rouge ragout of rye delight, a riot on the dance floor, but a wreck in the middle of the night. You see, I've a wretched reputation, a runway of past regrets. I've rummaged reefer, rented rooms by the hour, rehearsed reverse roulette. Still, I rustle the rat finks. The road show I remember, a reel among the ruffians, my rivals laid to ruin. With Romeo after Romeo, I rode my inner rodeo, a rendezvous, a revelry, remorse riding herd. One ran away, one reaped the gun. For one, revenge took a savage turn, and I lost all that I'd won. He wrung my rogue heart until I heard my own name flung. I wept for the ransom, rue it hasn't come. Razored my resistance, my rhyme of rote replies. Now I ration reprisals, readjust as scenes require. My rehab a raging river, my rifle a rook in disguise. Thank you so much.